back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. How is the form? I hope you're all keeping wonderfully well, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And today we're going to be looking at the All-Stars for 2022. That's right, we're going to be doing an All-Star predictions video. Of course, as you very well know, there have been a number of predictions videos on the channel over the last couple of days, and I very do appreciate all the comments and all the rest, the new subscribers and everything to the channel, very much appreciated. And we did one of these last year within an All-Star predictions in 2021. I think we got like 4 or 5 of them right in the end. I think we very much misjudged that Dublin would not win the All-Ireland, and that is the main reason why we got a lot wrong. So look, this is the All-Star predictions, and do bear in mind these are my choices, but feel free to disagree in the comments down below as well. And obviously do bear in mind, if you didn't see my All-Ireland football predictions video, I'd recommend to go ahead and check that out, because some of the choices on here will make a lot more sense, considering the fact that with the All-Stars, you know, it isn't just the best players in the country necessarily. It's obviously depends on sort of the impact that they've had in the championship, how far their team has gone. You know, for example, last year, you know, with teams getting knocked out in All-Ireland semi-finals and all the rest, like Kerry probably would have had 4, 5, 6 players in the All-Stars had they have made the final or won the All-Ireland, but because they were beaten in the semi-finals, they didn't have as many as they would have, as they probably will have this year if they do go on to win the All-Ireland, which I do expect. But yeah, as I said before, let me know your All-Star predictions in the comments down below, and let's get into it. So let's start off with the goalkeeper. And, you know, a couple of choices, obviously, with the goalkeeper. I think it's hard to really know who's going to start for Kerry. I know Shane Ryan started in the league final, and Shane Murphy started in a lot of the other games. Like Jack O'Connor's kind of done a bit of a rotation between the goalkeepers. I think the goalkeeper probably is the main weakness in this Kerry team, so I'm not going to give the All-Star to the Kerry goalkeeper, because I think Kerry will get enough All-Stars throughout this team anyway. After that, you're kind of looking at Rory Began, Sean Patton maybe Robbie Henley if Mayo are to have a big year, but I am going to go for Noel Morgan. I do think he's the most consistent goalkeeper in the country at the minute. He doesn't make too many mistakes, you know, going back to obviously that big mistake he made in the league against Kerry over a year ago now, I think it is, give or take, you know, the end of the 2021 National Football League. He's been very consistent, and I do think Tyrone are going to be thereabouts in the All-Ireland this year, whether it's a semi-final or a final. And as I said before, very hard to predict the Kerry goalkeeper. I might be wrong, but we just don't know who's going to start at the minute, because Jack O'Connor's done a lot of rotation, so it'd kind of be a tough prediction really to guess a goalkeeper when he might not even play. So I'm going to go for Noel Morgan. I think he's been the best man for Tyrone in between the sticks, or one of the best goalkeepers in the game at the minute. So Noel Morgan for me. We move into the full-back line, and we'll start off with the right cornerback position. And I mean, a couple of choices here without doubt. I mean, Padraig Hampsey could very well be in here. I mean, he's played a fullback on numerous times for Tyrone as well, but Hampsey could definitely potentially be in here, or even in the other cornerback position. He obviously won an All-Star there last year. You've got Graham O'Sullivan, Mick Fitzsimons maybe of Dublin, although I think when you look at how poor Dublin defended throughout the league, I think it would be a little bit biased of me as a Dublin fan to start giving it to Dublin players, considering how poor defensively they were in the league. Ryan Houlihan's got a lot of praise for Kildare, and if Kildare to do anything special, he could very well get in the mix. But for me, it is another very consistent performer. It's been an All-Star winner before, and it is Lee Keegan. And look, I think Mayo will be thereabouts this year. I know they're getting a lot of criticism following on from their league final, and I think a lot of people are looking at Mayo and thinking, you know, will they, you know, get to another semi-final, final, or what's going to be the crack with them. I think they're going to be there or thereabouts. You know, they might not win the All-Ireland, and, you know, I obviously gave a prediction yesterday saying that Kerry would win the All-Ireland, or not yesterday, but a few days ago. And I do think Kerry will win it, but I think Mayo will be very, very close indeed. And I think Lee Keegan, for me, very much a shoe-in. We know the quality that he is. When you expect to see, you know, some of the other Mayo defenders coming back into the side, obviously Robbie Henley coming back in goal, you know, the likes of Oisin Mullen, Paddy Durkin to come back in, you will see this Mayo defence improve, make no mistake about it. And I think Lee Keegan will definitely be a consistent performer for Mayo this year. Not only that, how many times has Lee Keegan kicked big points and big goals in big moments? So for me, Lee Keegan gets in at right cornerback. Moving on to the full-back position, and I've gone for Jason Foley. I don't think there can be any real arguments here. I think Jason Foley, surely if Kerry do go on to have a fantastic year and win the All-Ireland. Jason Foley has to get in here. You know, I've seen some people even saying he was the player of the league, and I probably wouldn't disagree too much with that. Obviously, David Clifford at the other end, an exceptional footballer, and two different positions, two different objectives throughout the game, so very hard to compare the two. In terms of some other options maybe we could have went for in this position, I mean, Ronan McNamee of Tyrone was exceptional last year. I think he missed out on an All-Star last year and he was very, very unlucky. Padraig O'Hara, I know he gets a lot of criticism for, I suppose, the role he played in that defeat to Kerry in the league final, but I still think he's an exceptional fullback. Brian Stack of Roscommon was very good throughout the league, but you are looking at it and thinking, are Roscommon going to progress past the quarter final? Probably not, in all honesty, unless they get a bit of luck along the way. So probably unlikely that he gets an All-Star. So I've gone for Jason Foley, and look, we've seen Kerry obviously improve massively defensively this year, with the likes of Paddy Tally obviously coming in there. Very much more so now a bit of a counter-attacking team at times, and you're seeing Jason Foley not just holding his position in fullback and getting those big blocks in, but also those overlapping runs as well, getting forward. I mean, he scored a goal, for Christ's sake, in the game versus Mayo, which was kind of incredible, really. So yeah, I think Jason Foley gets in there, and right beside him it is his Kerry counterpart and Tom O'Sullivan. Tom O'Sullivan definitely a bit more attacking, definitely likes to venture forward quite a bit, and I think this one as well is quite an obvious choice. It's very hard to know who else you'd go for here. I mean, Owen Merchant maybe, Michael McKernan. If Owen Merchant hasn't really been fit for Dublin for the past couple of years, and as I said, Dublin defensively just all over the place, so I don't think you can it'd be too much of a risk to put any Dublin defenders in there. Michael McKernan of Tyrone if they're to have something special, but I don't think you can look past Tom O'Sullivan. I think he's had a very, very good league campaign, and I expect him to continue that consistency throughout the championship, and if Kerry do win the All-Ireland, he will be a critical part of that jigsaw. We move into the half-back line, and it is another Kerry player, and you would expect there to be a lot of Kerry players because, as I said before, I think Kerry will win the All-Ireland, and usually the team that wins the All-Ireland collects the most amount of All-Stars. Let's be perfectly honest, and I think Gavin White will be in there at number 5. Now, he has had a couple of injury issues, and that maybe could hinder him getting into the All-Stars at the end of the year, but I do think he is, for me, the most likely player to be in this position because, you know, you see with Kerry and you see with Gavin White in particular, obviously getting the goal in the league final, those venturing runs, brilliant defensively as well. Almost, plays as an extra man in midfield for Kerry, and we've seen Kerry do very, very well around that half back line and cutting off the space to the forwards, sort of suffocating the D area, not allowing some of the opposition forwards to get as much time and space. We've seen them do that perfectly on Ryan O'Donoghue. So I think Gavin White, for me, has to get in there. Look, there are other options. I know Peter Hart would be an option that a lot of people will pick from. Let's not remember Peter Hart will be missing the opening game against Fermanagh. He's actually had, I think, appendix surgery or something like that. I've actually had that done myself before, and I know that is very, very sore, and I feel sorry for him, to be perfectly honest. He might be available if he's available for the Derry game. Fair play to him, and he'd have to say he's one tough cookie. It wouldn't surprise me if he's out there for the Derry game. But look, I just think Gavin White will just be that bit better, in my opinion, and I think if Kerry are to do something special, he'll just about edge it. Owen McLaughlin, Charlie Oak-Burns, James McCarthy, maybe other players who could get in the conversation, but Gavin White for me. Number 6 is Tadhg Morley, and again, another Kerry player. I promise there will be players of other teams. I do promise. I'm not just Kerry all over. And by the way, I haven't turned into a Kerry fan. I'm not saying that. I don't want any Kerry players to win All-Stars, but I'm trying to remain objective, as I always am on this channel. Otherwise, if I was just a big biased Dublin fan, you wouldn't really enjoy it as much, would you? I mean, maybe you would if you're a Dublin fan, but I don't know. But anyway, I've gone for Tadhg Morley. Again, probably for the same reasons as Gavin White. He obviously holds that position in the 6 a lot better, and when you look at the role he played actually in the league final, it was brilliant, really, at just sort of stopping those. You look at the likes of Matthew Rowan and Conor Loftus, who like to break forward and maybe create a couple of opportunities for scores, and I thought Tadhg Morley was very good in that type of role. There are other players here. I mean, you could throw a Frank Burns in here maybe, but I think Tadhg Morley, for me, unanimously gets in here. Number 7, we move back to a Mayo player, and that is Paddy Durcan. And look, Paddy Durcan, he's had a couple of injury problems this year. Could he be unavailable for the championship this year, or could he have more injury problems somewhere along the way? Maybe. So it is a bit of a risk. Maybe you take Paddy Durcan out and put Peter Hart in here, and that's probably the safer option, but I'm going to stick with Paddy Durcan. Look, I've said it kind of numerous times in previous years for those of you lads who aren't subscribed or who weren't subscribed back then or didn't follow the channel. I think he's just probably one of the best wing-backs in the country, if not the best wing-back. Like, he has that defensive output, as we know, but at times he's just brilliant at getting forward. He adds that extra dimension to your attack. You know, when you have a player playing at wing-back and he's getting 3, 4, 5 points in a game, that just adds that little bit more to your team, and it gives you way more of a chance of winning the game. So, you know, I think Paddy Durcan for me has been brilliant for Mayo over the last couple of years. As I said, couple of injury issues in there, and that maybe could be an issue. You look at maybe Brian O'Bugalook of Kerry, could he get in there? Robbie McDade, Kieran McGeary, of course, of Tyrone, who was Footballer of the Year last year. Could he be in there, or, you know, maybe in the half-forward line or something like that? Maybe. Although Kieran McGeary's form throughout the league wasn't exactly brilliant. So we'll see what happens. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, Paddy Durcan didn't play in the league at all, I don't think so. We'll have to wait and see. Bit of a maybe a bold prediction there, but I just think Paddy Durcan, if he plays, if he's in the team, I think he'll certainly have a huge impact for this Mayo team. We move into the midfield, and it is Diarmuid O'Connor of Kerry and Matthew Rowan of Mayo. And look, Diarmuid O'Connor finished the league very strong for Kerry. He had a brilliant game in the league final. And I think Kerry, who have had a couple of issues in midfield in the last couple of years, they've obviously, you know, at times David Moore maybe hasn't had his best games in midfield. They've sort of juggled between different options in there with the likes of Diarmuid O'Connor, Jack Barry, and a couple of other kind of players who can play in and around the middle. But I think Diarmuid O'Connor was very good in the league, and I expect him to be in there at the end of the year for Kerry. And Matthew Rowan as well. I mean, I think he was one of the players of the league, in my opinion. Exceptional around the middle, adding points to his game as well. You know, Mayo probably lacking maybe too many natural shooters in their team with some of the injuries that they have, with, you know, an unfit Cillian O'Connor. We'll see what happens when he comes back. Obviously Tommy Conroy's injured, so they don't have too many sort of natural shooters. Kevin McLaughlin can on his day, but he's sort of been more of a player coming off the bench. So I think Matthew Rowan has added that at times for Kerry, and he hasn't had a bad game really in any of the games I've seen him in. He struggled at times in the Kerry game in the league final, but even at that, I think it was more so down to his teammates than him. So I think Matthew Rowan gets in there. There are other midfield options. I mean, Brian Fenton probably still is the best midfielder in the country, in my opinion, but consistency-wise hasn't quite been there in the past year or so. So I'm not sure he gets in there. Con Kilpatrick, very unlucky to miss out on an All-Star last year. Paul Conroy, obviously what a campaign he's had for Galway. And if Galway are to do anything, he could be in there. But again, I don't think Galway are going to do anything majorly special this year, so I don't think that's what he gets in there. Jack Barry, Diarmuid O'Connor of Mayo could potentially get in here. Conor Loftus of Mayo as well. But yeah, Diarmuid O'Connor and Matthew Rowan are my midfield pairing. We move into the half-forward line, and in at number 10 we have Paudie Clifford, and I don't think really there can be too many arguments with Paudie Clifford getting in here. I mean, he was definitely in the conversation for you know, being in the league team of the year that I done. He was definitely not too far away. And I think he will get in here because, as we very well know with Paudie Clifford, you know, it isn't about the scoring as much as what his brother does and David Clifford. You know, it is quite different, Paudie Clifford's role within the team. I mean, he does get the odd point here and there, but it's those passes, picking out the likes of your David Cliffords, Paul Gainey in those advanced positions, picking them out in those positions, setting them up for scores. He's dropping into midfield at times. He's doing a bit of defensive work. He's almost playing that sort of Kieran Kilkenny type role. You know, and I think that's very good from Paudie Clifford. Just really being that extra man in attack at times as well. Number 11, Sean O'Shea. Look, he's had his injury problems as well, and maybe he might be injured a little bit more, but I think he will be back by the time the championship comes around, and I do expect him to have a big year for this Kerry team. Don't think he won an All-Star last year, and he was very unlucky not to get one, and I think he definitely will be in the conversation This year, look, we know Sean O'Shea, you know, he's a playmaker sort of in behind that forward line. But not only that, he's a big man for getting big goals, big points in big moments. And I think he will be in at number 11. And I think, you know, he's setting up players around him as well. And I think, yeah, Sean O'Shea, exceptional footballer, very skillful footballer as well. Very good at dribbling past, you know, players, and very good ball carrier as well. Very hard to dispossess him. So, yeah, number 11, Sean O'Shea. And at 12, we have the only Dublin player, and that is, for me, the most consistent Dublin footballer, really, even in the times that Dublin have been quite poor in the last couple of years, and that is Kieran Kilkenny. You know, he had a mixed league campaign. He had his good moments, he had his poor moments, but I do still think Dublin are sort of, you know, quarterfinals, semi-finals. I think with a bit of luck we'll make an All-Ireland semi-final, because I do think we'll come through Leinster, and I think Kieran Kilkenny will be the man to get in this team. You know, he won an All-Star last year as well. You know, Dublin haven't been poor. Dublin have been poor enough in this year and obviously last year in the championship, but it hasn't been anything got to do with Kieran Kilkenny. Like, he's kept those same levels. He's getting points, big points in big games, setting up scores around him, controlling possession. I think the big thing about Kieran Kilkenny on the ball as well is he slows the game down at times. He sort of takes the sting out of the game. He holds the ball up. He waits for men around him. He waits for runners. And he's just very calm, collected in possession. So, yeah, Kieran Kilkenny getting in at number 12. And we will run through some honourable mentions for players in around the forwards at the end of the video. But in at number 13, David Clifford. And I will reveal... Actually, no, we might as well do it now. David Clifford will be Footballer of the Year, in my opinion. And I don't think that's any surprise at all. 528 this year from Kerry. 522 from play. Absolutely extraordinary stuff from David Clifford throughout the league. A freak of nature. The things he does on the ball is just we've never seen before. The way he runs with the ball is unorthodox. You know, he doesn't slow down as he kicks points when he's on the ball, which not many other players, you know what I mean? Like, when he changes body shape, he doesn't slow down. It's just, it's a freak of nature. It's unnatural, but it's brilliant to watch from a Kerry point of view. Terrifying to watch from a Dublin point of view, because God help what he's going to do to this Dublin defence if Kerry and Dublin somehow play each other at some stage in this year's championship. So you're looking at it and you're thinking, yeah, David Clifford has to get in there. Footballer of the Year as well. As I said before, I think Kerry will win the All-Ireland, and I think Clifford will be the main spearhead man at the head of the attack for Kerry. So yeah, barring any injuries or barring anything sort of mad, I think David Clifford will get in as Footballer of the Year in at number 13. 14 is Darren McCurry of Tyrone. You know, he maybe had a quiet enough league at different times. 221 throughout the league campaign. Had his good moments, his bad moments, but I don't really think it was too much down to him, really. I think he kind of kept up his performance levels quite there. Probably didn't quite get the service from some of the other players, and Tyrone in general had, you know, although they finished the league quite strong, they were probably poor enough throughout the entirety of the league. But Darren McCurry, as we very well know, Footballer of the Year last year. Or was he Footballer of the Year last year? He definitely won an All-Star anyway. He was an exceptional footballer, make no mistake about it, and had a big year for Tyrone. And as I said, I think Tyrone will be there or thereabouts, and I think Darren McCurry will be the main man for this Tyrone team in the attack, make no mistake about it. So yeah, Darren McCurry getting in at number 14. 15 is Ryan O'Donoghue of Mayo, and look, there, you know, if you were to pick out a consistent performer for Mayo over the last 2-3 years, it definitely has been Ryan O'Donoghue. Exceptional in the league. I think he was third top scorer in the entirety of the league, second top scorer in the league, or in Division 1 behind David Clifford. What can you say, you know, about this guy? So brilliant on the ball, pacey, quick, weaves in around defenders. Very good at, you know, kicking points from distance as well. And I think for Mayo, look, I think they will be quite reliant on him at times this year, because I don't know how many sort of natural shooters they have in that forward line without Cillian O'Connor, without Tommy Conroy. You know, Kevin McLaughlin obviously playing more of an impact role off the bench, and a couple of other injuries in the team as well. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I think Ryan O'Donoghue, is, as we've seen before, he has been consistently scoring for this Mayo side, consistently making this Mayo side better. So I don't think you can look past Ryan O'Donoghue, in my opinion. Brilliant throughout the league, one of the players of the league. So yeah, he gets in at number 15. In terms of some honourable mentions then, I think Michael Murphy won't be too far away for Donegal. If you've seen my predictions video a couple of days ago, I do think Donegal will win the Ulster Championship, and that could leave Donegal maybe getting to an All-Ireland semi-final or potentially even more. So I think Michael Murphy could be very close, although I don't think Donegal will reach an All-Ireland final, let's be perfectly honest, and I think they could even get beat in the quarterfinals, to be perfectly honest. We've seen them do that time and time again before. Noel Sludden, I don't think would be a million miles away. Cormac Costello has been good for Dublin in the last couple of years and probably one of Dublin's best forwards this year in the league. Sean Bugler, for me, was Dublin's best player in the league. I think he was very, very impressive, and I don't think he'll be too far away. You're looking at Rian O'Neill, Paddy McBrearty, Conor Moyler, Rory Grugan. Could Cillian O'Connor maybe get in the conversation for Mayo if they're to have a big year this year? Cathal McShane maybe of Tyrone. There's a lot of players really, and there certainly is a lot of options. In terms of Footballer of the Year, David Clifford. Young Footballer of the Year, bit of a difficult one. I think Cathal Heenahan's looks very good for Roscommon. He could definitely get in the conversation. But I've gone for Dara Canavan of Tyrone. He had a very good end to the league. Some big performances. The thing is with Dara Canavan and Tyrone, like there is sort of some, people saying, why does he sort of end up almost in his own defensive line at times? He's that extra man in defence, almost 60 yards from where he should be playing, and maybe that's a question around Tyrone's system at times, but I do think he's an exceptional footballer. So pacey on the ball, very, very quick, very hard to dispossess, and I think once he starts adding points and goals to his game, I think you're going to be looking at a top class footballer. Make no mistake about it. So yeah, Dara Canavan gets in there as Young Footballer of the Year. Let me know maybe in the comments below, who do you think could potentially get in the conversation as Footballer of the Year, Young Footballer of the Year. I think another player I've forgotten the honourable mentions is Tony Brosnan. He could get in there. Paul Gainey could be in the conversation. I mean, a lot of Kerry forwards could really get in there, and there probably could be more Kerry players that could very well get in the conversation. But let me know in the comments down below, who do you think will be in the conversation for All-Stars. Of course, it's a long time away before we'll actually know who will be the All-Stars. I mean, the championship has to happen and everything else, but these are obviously my predictions. So yeah, if you enjoyed this content, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll see you later.